Hi, friends, and welcome to my podcast. This is a channel where I share my insights, and today I'll be talking about taking full advantage of life. And I want to get into the metaphysical principles of what that means. Because sometimes we confuse taking advantage of life with bossing it around. And it just doesn't work that way. Taking advantage of life is a subtle thing, which requires you to stretch in ways that often make us uncomfortable. So stick around and we'll talk about taking full advantage of life from the spiritual side. It might feel that some people are taking full advantage of life, while others are being taken advantage of. And our perception is just askewed in that vision of reality. And so we have to clearly define what it means to take advantage of life, because I do believe that's what it's here for. But we have to be careful in the way we word something so precious to us. Taking advantage of would mean that we can harness the power of some secret God, figure out the code word, pull the handle each time, and hit a jackpot. This is the idea that the secrets of the universe are hiding in some mathematical, formulaic, mechanistic way of winning and winning and winning. And it's not like that at all. Yet, we have to figure out the common bond of what you would call a win-win. As opposed to a win-lose. So your version of taking full advantage of life might imply that you can find the secret to controlling it. And that's where I think we go wrong. If you really examine yourself, you may learn that you are afraid that life is out of control. Yet, in this beautiful understanding of it, it's completely ordered without being dominated or won or loss. See, what you learn in your growing consciousness, your evolving consciousness, is this is a wonderful way of seeing the world. And I'm going to use this analogy, but if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. If you find yourself in a situation that seems like us versus them, or some kind of obstacle, any kind of line drawn in the sand, a deadline, a dwindling resource, a doomsday, a ending of any kind, you've drawn a boundary which creates a conflict of expectation, whatever the case may be, And the Buddha reminds us there are no lines in the sky. And what he's trying to say to us is, I'm going to rephrase it. Whatever conflict you're embroiled in, whatever twisting situation or obstacle or problem, particularly if it's with another person or a situation, and you in your mind have an opponent, an adversary, an obstacle, you've created two sides. And God is on both sides. Now, I don't like to use that language, but it really helps challenge our notion that God is on our side. Or time is on my side. Or that I've got some advantage over you. Or that I have some advantage over life. You see? That's where things fall apart. Because essentially, what we are doing is playing chess with ourselves. And you can do this. Get a chessboard and play chess with yourself. And you'll see the strange phenomenon that needs to take place for you to do this. Who are you strategizing against, you see? When you're playing the black pieces, you'll have to forget what the person playing the white pieces was doing. Can you beat yourself? Can you lose against yourself? Remember, God is on both sides of the so-called conflict. That's why Jesus would say something so stupid as love your enemies and do good to those who harm you. Or in some translations, there's a section where it says, agree with your adversaries. Settle out of court. Don't keep trying to take it to the top. There is no top. You see. There's always a way to seemingly settle the way the ego sees the world as imbalanced. When you remember that the argument is the same on both sides. It's just that the ego thinks that it can eradicate the enemy. But we know in a dualistic, relative world, friends and enemies are the same. In other words, who is a Democrat without a Republican? See, we think we can have a world with only Democrats. We can have a world with only liberals. There won't be any conservatives. So, if we get rid of all the conservatives, we've built this utopian paradise. And we've taken full advantage of life. Meanwhile, us versus them is simply hiding. Once you include everybody, the enemy grows from within. You see, it's like a weed. We're proliferated by the same intelligence. So, let me put it to you this way. If you're afraid of the destruction of the world, if you're afraid of the crazy people in the world, you're afraid to play chess with yourself. You're afraid you're going to beat yourself. When essentially there's a ghost on the other side. Somehow the universe is able to play chess with itself in the same way that you're able to speak to yourself, scare yourself, lie to yourself. You can't take advantage of yourself. How can you take advantage of yourself when you're playing both sides, you see? That's what we think. We take full advantage of life. I'm talking about playing the game. breaking the cycle of thinking you have an opponent, settling out of court, realizing God's on both sides. All these things about duality are very important in the person that thinks they're going to take full advantage of life. That's just a dualistic statement. So are you going to get on top of the universe and hump it and show it who's boss? Or are you going to get on the bottom of the universe and be screwed by it? Either way, you're playing chess with yourself. You're going to screw yourself? Are you going to dominate yourself? Are you going to boss yourself around? I can't boss myself around because if I do, I forget. I'm not the boss in that kind of way. I'm the boss that is activated by trust that I'm on the other side of this so-called dividing line that I've created. Let me put it to you in this language. Whatever it is you feel like is missing, is stuck, is hurting you, any kind of stickiness, or my life just isn't going anywhere, or bitterness or sourness, is a failure to see where you can give. To give way. Life is about suppleness, and it's going to push you into the opponent, the so-called opponent, so you can see that's you. You see? It's going to push you into the fear. And you start doing it voluntarily, or what feels like voluntarily. Life sort of narrows in and narrows in and narrows in, and you should realize that it's more about restraint and overcoming cravings. And this is taking full advantage of life. Overcoming craving, overcoming the temptation to be pulled into toxic environments and complaining and anger, pulled into addictive behaviors, pulled into thinking you need something. That's a good one. The only way to show yourself that you don't need it, you can do without it, is to voluntarily give it up. So let's take any number of things you feel dependent upon. Many people are addicted to this so-called need to be in a relationship. You must show yourself the beauty of being single. Show yourself the beauty, the advantage of, there it is, show yourself the advantage of being single. Show yourself the advantage of, of not having a paycheck. There's an advantage to not having a paycheck. You don't have to pay taxes. You don't have to be a slave to a boss. These are temporary situations anyway. Show yourself you can do without food. This is where fasting comes in. Your body's going to go nuts if you fast for a while. I'm talking about 14 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours if you can. Hell, Jesus fasted for 40 days. Daniel fasted for 21 days. These people have done this. And their body gives up. It's about giving. You see, giving way, leaning in. The body will crave and crave. It'll give, the body will make you foggy and weak and heart palpitations, and it all goes away. The craving starts to create an alarm, and when you don't give in to that tension, the body does, all right, I guess what I'll do now is I'll go repair some cells. So the body stops nagging you, if you will, and starts doing what's called cell replenishing. It distracts itself on some other creative thing. So depravity, or it looks like depravity, or giving, is a wonderful way of teaching you how to build creatively. You see? It opens a new dimension of food, which is called spiritual food. Jesus said, man does not live by bread alone. I know I'm always quoting Jesus. I'm not a Christian, but there's so much wisdom that I didn't realize was there. I grew up in church, so it's all in my head. That you are more than the body. That's just a lesson. I'm more than my body. I'm more than these cravings. I'm more than the thoughts. I'm more than the idea that I need this. This is to overcome the world is to take full advantage of it. That doesn't mean you renounce it, call it evil. Nothing wrong with having money and things. There's nothing wrong with that. What I feel is the most important to our taking advantage of life is to realize that the more you give, the more is released. The more that is released, the more that gives. It's just a cycle that just billows out from surplus. But we take this kind of a teaching and we think of it more as transactional, you see. Okay, well, what's in it for me? If I give, what's in it for me? See, that's not the right way of taking advantage of the world. Of taking advantage of the world, not taking advantage of the world. Taking advantage of life is indulging in the beauty of without. You haven't exposed yourself to that side of the equation yet. The without side. Without a mate, without a paycheck, without a job, without a religion. Oh, what would I do without my church? You can become addicted to it. Whatever it is you feel is keeping you in bondage is what's beckoning you to let it go. I was for years, I thought I needed a relationship. Oh, good God. I had to show myself that's bullshit. All of it's bullshit if you think you need it. And that's hard to swallow to a person who's in need, you see. But we've got to overcome our needs. We have to learn how to give. There's something that's got to give way in you if you feel stuck or at the bottom of the heap. And that giving way is the ego letting go of itself. You're being called to release that. And that puts you in a place of seeming advantage where you're not pulled into the toxicity. You've broken the cycle of karma. You step off of the spinning mind and the needs of the world, putting you in a better position to not be pulled in, readying you for something, I don't know. Preparing you for, I don't know. Real strength. That's what all of this is about. It's about relinquishing the idea of control and force. And that's taking advantage of life. Relinquishing control, relinquishing craving, relinquishing need, relinquishing boastfulness. That's a really good one. Most of us do things so we can boast about it. Don't boast about it. Let it be from a place of complete autonomy and anonymity and pure joy, whimsical playfulness. Nobody's going to know about it. That's where true sustenance begins to really bubble in you. And that's what gives you food. That's what gives you taking advantage of your pure anonymity. You're one with Source in that moment. You're expressing pure love for the sake of pure love, and it just keeps giving. There's a story of a man who was down on his luck. See, being down on your luck, that's the ego telling you you're at the bottom of the universe, you're getting taken advantage of, right? I get it. It feels real. And so you hear that giving is a great way to unlock abundance. So this man goes to this little parish church in the country, and he had heard that if you give, God will bless you. So he put 50 cents in this little alms basin in the back, and he was with his son, and they went to church. He was looking real downtrodden and sad, and he was praying after church, and the priest came up to him and said, "Sir, is there something I can help you with?" And the man said, "Yeah, I'm just kind of down on my luck. Is there anything you can do to help me?" And the priest said, "Yeah, I can help you. Come with me." And so they went to the back of the church, and he said, "This is not a very rich parish. We don't have much discretionary income to help people, but I have this little alms basin back here, this little box where people can donate, and I'll give you what's in it." And the man was like, "Oh, okay," thinking that other people had put money in the box too. And the priest opened up the box, and there was 50 cents in there, the same 50 cents that the man put in. And so the man kept his peace and took his 50 cents back and walked home, still feeling dejected and taken advantage of. And his son said, "Dad, if you had put more in, you would have gotten more out." You see, that's what happens to people who believe that if you give, you get. It doesn't work. If you really want surplus, you're going to have to stretch. You're going to have to stretch yourself. Stretch the budget. Stretch the tolerance level. Break down. Give. Bend a little further. Right? There was a blanket company that used to say they make these blankets so it would drape over the bed. It's the overage that keeps you warm, the extra, right? If the blanket was just enough to cover the bed, if you think about it, just doing your part, if the blanket was just enough to cover the bed, the draft would come in. It's the overage that I'm talking about. Going into the fear. Just a little bit extra into the desert. That's where fasting is important. Getting over the craving, getting over the needs. That's where abundance is unlocked. Giving. I call it a soldering joint, which binds positive and negative. You go right beyond it, and you see that the positive and negative terminal is not all there is to the one energy in the universe. A lot of us are averting the negative and chasing the positive, but it's a battery, and an electrical current is complete by positive and negative. Okay? It's an oscillation between the two. It's a complete circuit. This is about finding the ground wire. And getting out of the positive-negative game. Realizing that God's on both sides. I'm on both sides. I don't take sides anymore. I give from a place of abundance. Just a little further. It's a purposeful breaking down. A purposeful stretch. And I also use this in weightlifting. You go to the gym to destroy your muscles. And you're sore afterwards. You basically make yourself suffer. But voluntarily, and in as much as the technique is good, and you know that you've leaned in enough to stretch, you see. So this giving way is about suppleness. And if there's any clinginess in you, any glue, any rigidity, you'll be sucked into a toxic environment so fast you won't notice how quickly your temper, your bitterness returns. See, everybody has evil inside of them. Everybody. There ain't nobody that doesn't have a temper. Jesus has a temper. There's a story of him turning tables over in the temple. He was mad. He was pissed off. He got pissed off at Peter because Peter denied him. But he knew it was going to happen. He still got a little cross with him. He got cross with Martha, the story of Martha and Mary. He got cross with her for being a futzpot, you see. So there's a little edge in it. That's what I'm saying. We all have this reactive tendency. And sometimes you use it on purpose. It's when it's pulled out of you on accident, it rears its head. That's when things get out of hand. So taking advantage of life means that you get into the part of you that won't relinquish control. You get into that part of you that's afraid. And you say, you know what? I'm afraid to do this. But in a weird way, you're attracted to it. You're afraid to fast. Oh, what if I get hungry? Move into it. Show yourself that hunger is not going to kill you. A little bit of hunger, a little bit of thirst, a little bit of time. So it's giving from a place of that might feel like a little push. And that's what gives way and the breakthrough comes. And it's not about what am I missing? I'm not getting it. You know, what is Ryan talking about? I don't get it. It's not about getting it. It's you inside wondering, what could I give? Where do I need to give more and stretch more? And that's so helpful to unlock this magic, which people have labeled talent or gifts or blessings, or it's not. It's the ego that thinks all this stuff is miraculous. There is no difference between the mundane and the miraculous. It's all one doing. There's no difference between positive and negative. It's all one doing. Once you see that God's on both sides, and essentially, it's just like playing chess with yourself. Enjoy the game. One side of yourself will win, but it's just about playing continually in this duality. You play both sides. You don't curse out the other side. That's you. Remember that. Remember the game. Remember the playfulness. Remember not to hoard and to clamp down. It takes a little stretch. And so I touched on a lot of areas, which I will elaborate on in future videos, and I appreciate your time. My name is Ryan Hebert, and I hope that you enjoyed these insights. And I encourage you to check out my blog. It's called mymorningmotivator.com. Thank you.